Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Michael Martin, the CEO of the National Wood Flooring Association. Michael, how you doing?
I'm good, Kemp. How are you?
I'm good. You just had a board meeting down in Fort Worth, Texas, and there's a lot of activity going on within your organization since we last talked. So thanks for spending time with our listeners. First off, you formed two task forces earlier this year, and one of them was the definition of real wood, and then the second one was on how to promote the use of wood versus the imitation products. So give us an update.
Yeah, it seems kind of silly that we actually need to define what real wood is, but we've seen a lot of products in the marketplace lately. Paper is a wood product, but it's not real wood. And so it's obviously become clear that we need to define that because we've got a lot of players out there that are putting a product out that has a wood look on the surface, but it's really a photo. A photo, even though it's on a paper product, it's not the same thing, and it's very confusing in the marketplace. So we felt the need that we really needed to define what wood flooring is as we look at how we need to promote it to the consumer, because that's who's getting the bigger part of the confusion level. Obviously, there's confusion in the sales channel about selling against some attributes that products are saying they're real wood and they're waterproof and that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, those are marketing terms. Those aren't necessarily always reality. So we needed to really look at what real wood floor is and remind people that that's who we are and that that's what we'll promote.
Have you gotten enough agreement on this to publish this somewhere, or where does it stand?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be putting out a press release next week that goes through what the wood floor definition is. We have a plan in place to take us forward in the new year. Coming in November now, so wrapping down this year, we'll launch some things in January at Surfaces and then follow up with some additional promotional ideas with our expo in the first week of May.
All right, so the first part of it, the hurdle you've jumped is you've defined what real wood is, okay? Now the second part is then how do you communicate to the consumer level, similar to what the tile industry's been doing with white tile. How do you tell the consumer, hey, listen, if you buy real wood, this is what you're going to get?
For many years we've had a consumer website, woodfloors.org, which is really designed to help the consumer make good decisions about wood flooring. And care and maintenance tend to be the main topic that get looked at there. And so we're going to back up some of the content there to how you select wood flooring, making sure that you're getting the right product in the right place. Do you use engineered? Do you use solid? What are your preferences? What are you trying to accomplish? So that we're all carrying the same message, the same logo. So hopefully over time, if the consumer walks into a retail store, they can see the real wood logo and know that it's not LVT, it's not laminate, that's real wood, as defined by our definition.
So this is going to be kind of like that wool symbol or the got milk thing?
Yes, that's the idea. Is there needs to be some really easy way for a consumer or for a salesperson, for that matter, to really be able to tell that something is real wood.
And I guess that's going to take a little bit of an investment. Have you gotten that far as to say how you're going to fund some of this?
There are a couple of phases that we'll work toward. But initially what we know we can support is PR initiative and to get the definition out there to provide clarity to the marketplace, then rely on our members to take that messaging forward too, because obviously it's important in their business. We've just saw in our industry outlook that we completed this fall that the number one threat to the channel really are lookalike products, and that's everybody seeing some of that pressure and seeing some product selection getting chosen that wouldn't have been chosen maybe 2 years ago.
All right, so the website's going to be woodfloors.org. Is that right?
Yes.
All right, I got to hand it to you, Michael. In this day and age, especially in a consolidated marketplace, you've got some major members that make more than one type of flooring. I'm sure to pass all this through and get approval has been difficult. And so some of these activities, could change the balance of what's sold, right?
Well, we're hopeful. Wood tends to have more profitability driven into it than some of the cheap lookalike products. So we have consumers, which they told us in our consumer research last year, still really want real wood floors. Then why aren't we selling that as a luxury product, and why aren't we selling that at a higher margin? Because of the consumer demand and because of the locations that those are going into, high-end homes and homes that can afford it to have real wood floors.
Well, and there's this biophilia concept where, living on a real wood floor, you're living with nature. Some people are saying that just changes the whole feel of the indoor space, right?
Well, absolutely. When I bought the home I'm in now a couple of years ago, the first thing I did was rip out all the carpet and put in hardwoods. Now, obviously, I'm biased, and it would be really bad if the CEO of the National Wood Flooring Association had something besides wood in his house. But I can tell you, the whole environment shifted. The home feels completely different than it did with carpet.
Well, Michael, you've almost been handed a gift here as we talk about the balance of flooring and the value equation, because these Chinese tariffs are going to probably have more impact on some of these multi-layered floorings and the way they cost to, say, a builder or to a homeowner versus wood. What effect do you think the tariffs, especially at a 25% rate, are going to have on the sale of real hardwood flooring?
Well, it's a real boon for domestic manufacturing here in the States. Obviously, those companies won't be held to those tariff increases, and so when we see all of the look-alike product, for the most part, is coming from other parts of the world. So if we see a tariff go onto products like LVT, or tariffs go onto some of the laminate products that are out there, that makes the price of wood more attractive, perhaps. Why buy a look-alike if you can have the real thing? If there's a 25% tariff added on, the cost differentiator levels it out a little bit there. The area where we have some more concern really is on the supply side. If the American mills have been sending 30, 40, 50% of their products going to China, that's sort of stopped the buying cycle coming from China. So we're going to see some changes, I think, in the supply side of wood. Now, long term, as that levels out over time, I think that means there's more opportunity on the domestic side for supply. So it's really interesting because it's obviously going to affect us in a variety of ways, but in particular with wood flooring, there's two impacts. There's one coming from where's the wood going to go now, and then number two, coming back, having a tariff on competing products.
Now, you bringing up a dimension here I want to make sure everybody's clear on. A lot of these people who manufacture hardwood floors, some of them are also in the sawmill business, and the value of logs, because a big part of consumption of logs was going to China, and so that spigot's going to turn off, and that's going to change. It's a supply and demand equation, so it's going to change how much wood flooring costs, isn't it?
It could. It's a leveling out period, and there's been sort of a wait and see on what happens with the tariffs as far as planning. But over the years, the demand for U.S. hardwoods from China have increased, and that's been a large customer for many of the U.S. lumber mills and mills that also make other products besides just the raw material. So it's the playing field will have to level out in some way. But the good news is it doesn't look like we're going to have a supply problem where people who are making wood flooring have a problem getting supply domestically. That'll all level out. Obviously, it'd be difficult for a U.S. company like a mill to absorb a 30 to 40% loss in a customer base overnight. So, there are some inventory issues and that kind of thing that'll have to be taken a look at in the short term.
All right, Michael, thanks for the update, and congratulations on those two milestone achievements as far as defining what real wood is and then starting the process of spending money to tell the consumer about it. So again, been talking to Michael Martin, the CEO of the NWFA, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.